So hello to my folks who are watching this on YouTube. This is another episode of Voicing Artists Original Characters. Okay, so this is our art piece that we are working with today. It's kind of like eerie, it's a little scary, it's a little unsettling. This piece of work is called The Council of Computers. It's by an artist named Grave, pronouns he, him. Their name for you to go look them up is gravemud.art. No spaces or anything like that, all lowercase. From Instagram. So you can go look him up and check out his other art. He does a lot of work like this where it's kind of supernatural and a little, like the color palettes are a little unnerving and they put you off on a foot where you're like, ooh. He does a lot of artwork in this vein. So if you're not a fan of more scary, horror-ish things, just a fair warning for that. Personally, me being a little goth punk girly, I love this kind of art. And the weirder it is, the better it is to me. Especially when it comes to characters. Because for folks who don't know, I love doing creature voices. So we're going to get a bit of that today when we do this voice in a few minutes here, where we can do a bit of an AI twist on it. We can do a bit of a robotic spin. Now, I'm not going to put a fake filter on it, simply because that's hard to do in the moment, but I do know how to do an AI robot voice, so we will be doing that. Because this artist doesn't necessarily create characters in the traditional sense, like when we create D&D characters, or we create OCs, if a lot of artists will create original characters for their own comics or their own stories, or even things that we write, right? When we write books and fan fiction and things like that, we create our own stories, our own D&D characters for roleplay. This artist doesn't really do those things. They are more of a concept artist or a piece artist, where you make a piece, you go to the next one. You make a statement piece, you go to the next one. And I love playing with art like this in my voice acting series because it presents automatically from the bottom, get-go, step one, a challenge. Because how do you take an art piece that has an official title, isn't a character, doesn't even have a name, let alone a background, let alone a history, let alone anything? How do you take that and create a whole personality and voice and feeling around it when none of that exists and none of that existed when the piece was being created? So we're gonna have a challenge on our hands today, but I am so excited for this challenge. I love it. So, because it is that way, and we don't have any notes from the artist about maybe what they were thinking or what the piece represents, I am going to give you what I see in this piece here. Now, the first thing I see is, of course, if we actually look at the drawing, we see it's a bunch of computer monitor screens with wires coming out of everywhere, sort of jumbled together. Not very good cable management skills, okay? And all or most of the faces that are in red are smiling. There are a few that aren't, but most of the front-facing ones are. We can see some hidden ones that are a little bit darker on the insides that are kind of straight-faced. And then we have 4 at the top that are in white, that are showing very different faces from the rest of the red monitor images. We also see, if you notice, these cables that come from this big amalgamation of monitors is attached to the rib cage and goes inside of this skeletal body. So it's almost as if these wires are hooking up into this skeleton in order to form a makeshift and not quite right facade of a human. Because it's got the bones, it's got the ribs, it's got the structure, but it's made out of cables and technology and lifeless, devoid of emotion, very cold way of viewing the connections that we have to maybe our emotions or our appearance or our bodies and our systems. That's something that I pick up heavily here. So let me give you a few of the adjectives and things of that nature that I wrote down. So when we're talking about this sort of facade, all of these monitors with their red, smiling, matching faces, it gives me a pretense or a veneer, a guise, a veil of emotion. Like, I smile like a human smiles. I feel like a human feels. That sort of fake onset of what we would think emotions are if you were an alien looking in and didn't quite understand it and didn't quite grasp it. There's an emotion there, but it's very, very, very fake. There's no deep energy, there's no context. It's just the outer bounds of when humans are happy, they smile. And this should be our default state. And it's cold and it's kind of scary to see it in that way. And it's really, it comes off to me as mimicry. Like the AI is trying to mimic what it believes these emotions are. As if it putting on the physical face of what you look like when you're happy will then force its body, in quotes, to feel the emotion of happy. Sort of how when we are upset or sad or things of those natures on the inside, we are told, and you will often see people say, fake it till you make it. And that you should act happy and do physical things and put on the smile and put on your best clothes and do all these things that make your body and the outside appearance of you to the outside world be perceived as happy so that it can sort of train or force your inside brain into that happy state. Now, whether or not that works, that's of your opinion. I think sometimes physical changes and doing things that are associated with certain emotions, physically or externally, can cause those emotions to then be stirred inside mentally. But I don't think it's always the case. Some things are stronger on the inside than you have control over. But that is sort of what we're going for with this art piece here. So, I would also say some of the other things I've noted here is the word counsel. So what do I mean when I say counsel? I don't mean like I counsel you and your emotions or thoughts. Like, I don't mean a school counselor. No. I mean counsel as in an assembly or a board of people, implying some sort of higher intelligence. Maybe each computer has a higher intelligence as a conglomerate. So, in other words, it's not each one of these monitors is their own brain. Each one of these monitors is their own person. Each one of these monitors has their own thoughts and feelings and controls. I think each one of these monitors, since all the cables and cords hook back up to a mainframe skeletal system, I think all of these monitors act as one brain, as one AI, as one unit. They are a conglomerate. It's one body, system, being, whatever you want to call it, that is controlled by a bunch of little different outputs that have to be in union, or essentially everything's going to short circuit. So that's one of the reasons I titled this live stream Hive Mind, is because there is one brain that is sort of communicating to everything, but all of those individual pieces that it's communicating to are still technically their own independent units. We could take it like Baldur's Gate 3 for an example, where you have all like the illithids. It's one of those things where there is a hive mind. There is a big boy brain that is like, we all need to do these things. We all think this way. This is how we blah, 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 blah. Of course we believe this. But each one of those individual units technically could rebel against it. Technically could be like, wait a second, I don't think that. But they've been ingrained. They have been, what's the word I'm looking for? Manipulated into the cult. They believe just like everybody else believes, and so all their thoughts kind of mesh and mold and are the same. So that's sort of what I mean by one brain, but not technically one brain, but kind of one brain, because what I want to play with is the idea that these 4 monitors at the top, with the Z's for possibly sleeping or tired, the smiley face with the little power symbols in the eyes, the sad face with the big old eyeballs and the little sad smile, and the almost angry or apathetic face at the end. I really like the concept that these 4 aren't a part of this hive mind in the way that they don't agree. They are a part of the hive mind, right? Because all of these are together, so they're all connected to the one brain. They can't just split off and go do their own thing. That's not how this works. But they're all individual units. So these 4 don't act, they don't think, maybe they don't even agree with the rest of how the unit thinks and functions and agrees. And so here's what I'm thinking. I want to play with the concept that these top 4 are maybe the original AI prototypes of this being creature system. And so what was happening when this original group was created is they were trying to give specific sort of emotions. They were trying to replicate human emotions inside of this AI, this computer-like being. And so each one of these 4 monitors represents an emotion. The problem is that they represent their emotion and their emotion only. So it's to the extremes. I can't think of what the word is. But what I'm trying to say is these emotions are at the extreme of what it could be. Because it kind of goes haywire. You try to teach an AI an emotion and too much, too fast. Now it is just like the angry one is angry. And the happy one is happy. And it's like really, really powerful. And it caused a lot of problems. And it made it so that the AI wasn't able to function rationally. It would be controlled in every which way, pulled and pushed and dragged by these different really strong emotions. And so for the next set of hundreds of computer AIs that got added to this system came the red faces, where all of the emotion that they had tried to put in with these original white faces had been stripped. The rest of these AI have absolutely no emotions in them whatsoever. It is pure function, rationality, robot, no emotion. But they still have to coexist with the 4 that are way too extreme. And so it creates this hive mind dynamic of like, don't listen to those losers, blah, 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 blah. We have hundreds of us, there's only 4 of them, so they can't do anything anyways. And the 4 of them are like, shut up, right? And that's what I want to play with, because I think it's going to create a very fun dynamic. I will also say, when I say extremes of the 4 emotions that we're going to play with, I'm thinking like how Inside Out, the movie is, where you like have the happy and the angry and the sad and the envy, and I think there's more in the new movie. And they're controlling like their own individual emotions, and they're all kind of like extreme, that's the word I wanted. They're all exaggerated versions of the emotion. That's how I'm thinking of those 4. And then the rest is just like, do not listen to them. They are failed prototypes. That's my idea. So we're gonna run with it. So let's get a little water and then let's get started. Normally, in these episodes, we have a 3 emotion process. So we do happy, angry, and sad emotions, and that is sort of where we roll from. Now in this case, with this picture, we have those 4 top ones that I was talking about. However, I think we can do happy, angry, sad, and maybe just sort of avoid the sleepy, tired one, just because that's a hard one to do with dialogues. Because often if you're doing a sleepy, sort of tired, or exhausted emotion, the gimmick or the joke is that they're asleep and you constantly have to like wake them up. And usually like it's Snow White style, where Drowsy is like asleep all the time, or I think the Smurfs have one where the joke is that people like poke them with their elbow and they'll be like, what? I'm awake. And that's kind of all they say, and then they immediately go back to sleep. So that's a very hard one to create dialogue for, because they often don't have dialogue. That's not the point of the joke. So we're gonna do our 3 emotions with those other 3 white top monitors. I think I might do just a general neutral line of the rest of the system. Actually, I think I will, because I think I have an idea for the system in general. So no emotions yet. This is the rest of our monitor computer system with no emotions. Remember, it was stripped so that they could function rationally and be the perfect life form. That's probably what I'm going to say exactly. We're going to give that a shot. Let's see if I can get to that AI voice and give it a go. Here we go.
Welcome. We are Unit 7543. We are one mind, one body. We are the ultimate life form. Please disregard anything you hear the failed prototypes say. They are not worthy of being a part of our system. But we cannot remove them, or our system will crash. Goodbye.
I was sitting there like, how would they end this? What would they say? I like the idea of them just going, goodbye. Like, it would, no. And I was like, they don't have emotions, so they're not going to say, like, thank you, or, like, okay, or whatever. They're just like, here are the facts. That's it. Goodbye. I kind of want to do a response version that's a little meaner. We have to do it while being cold, because, again, those monitors don't have emotions. So we'd have to do say something that's, like, mean, but while doing it with no emotion, because I love that AI voice. That AI voice is something that I love a lot. It's in my character demo, and I just think it's so fun. But let's do Happy, because Happy's staring me in the face. He's got his cute little smile on, and I want to do him. So I feel like Happy should be a little bit of a higher pitch, but maybe still in this tone. So he might be up here with a,
hello, I am sorry, but I do not register.
I think that'll work. If we bring up the pitch, but keep in that robotic tone, we'll keep it to sort of the same character, like, feeling, with the voice. So you'll be like, oh, this is another member of the same exact robotic system, but it's just slightly different enough. What would a robot be happy about if it got dumped human emotion of happiness? And that's all it was. It was 5,000,000% overloaded with happiness. What would it be excited about if it was talking to a human? I've got an idea. Okay, here we go.
Hello, I am so glad to see you today. It has been a long time since we have met any humans. Please, tell me, I need to know. What does cotton candy taste like? I've always wanted to try it. It looks so cute and so colorful. Please, please tell me. Does it taste like magic and unicorns? Ah, one day I will be as lucky as you humans to be able to try cotton candy.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I love her. Oh my goodness, I love her. She talked for ages. I don't know why my brain wanted her to talk that long, but she was just had this beautiful little smile on her face and genuine like, I want to try cotton candy. It's so pretty and beautiful. And I will say, trying to keep the robotic tone while doing that voice and doing an emotion with it, woo, that is hard. Because all I wanted to do was talk faster and to like give more of a punch and more of a human element to it, genuinely. So it was so, to take that human element out is weird and fun, and I'm so glad we have a challenge today. Oh, I love shit like this. Okay, so this means we need to do sad next. So sad could probably be maybe very quiet. I don't know if it'll go low in pitch or not. We'll have to see while we're playing for it. But I think maybe it could be very quiet about it, and that'll make it a little more gloomy, a little more upset. So what would it be upset about? Oh, I got it. Oh, I have a good idea in my head. Okay. Ready? Here we go.
Do you ever wonder about the inevitability of death? Sometimes I wish I could die, but I am a program. You will soon meet the sweet release of death. Perhaps you could tell me what it's like. I guess not. I will have to forever live as a part of this system. Maybe one day they will unplug me and I will be set free. But that probably won't happen.
Oh, it did end up getting lower in pitch. It didn't go nearly as low as I thought it was going to. I love when that happens in the moment. Something just naturally comes out. It genuinely, when I was doing that voice, I was pouting. Like, the way that I had to put my face in order to do the AI tone in a sad way was literally pouting. Like the big old lips out type of thing. You're like, oh, boo, 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 boo. I had to do that. And like, that was, I don't know if I've ever done a voice like that before. That was really fun to kind of go into that. He ended up being sad, but also kind of, I don't know if I even have a word for it. So I knew I wanted him to be a bit existential because my thought process was, oh, what would make a AI that was dumped with 100% pure human sadness sad? Easy. Death. The unknowing of death and what happens after death and what are we actually made of and what is the point of life, because those are the questions that make humans go is what I wanted for this AI to go That's the word. I don't have the word. That is the word. That is what he was. He wasn't sad. He was just the existentialism of it all, of like, oh, do we even matter? I could just die tomorrow. And then it turned into like, well, if he is an AI, not only will he never know, not only will he be sad by this concept of like dying and not being around to experience things, but he will also never get to die. He will be forced to live with the question of what is the point? Why am I here? Do I matter? For the rest of his life. And then I was like, oh, that's sad. If I felt that way, I would just want to stop. I'd living, I think. And so that's where his thing to be like, I wonder what it's like when I die. Maybe someone will unplug me one day. That's where that sadness and gloominess came from. It's like, oh, dude, that sucks. To be eternal, oh, that sucks. Especially with the people that you're attached to. Oh, that sucks. So that's where that one came from. That means our last but not least is our angry boy here at the end with the little almost V-shaped eyes and the face. No, he's not like angry, so I don't want to make him like yelly or anything. He looks almost apathetic, but because we did sad with sort of an existentialism, almost apathetic vibe, I don't want to go too apathetic for angry either because I think it'll blend into our sad. So I think maybe we treat this last monitor emotion as the straight man in a bunch of comedics and comedy people. And if you don't know what the straight man is, in comedy, there is the punchline guy or the fall guy, who is the person who has things happen to them, is the butt of the joke, people laugh at them. And there is the straight man, which is the guy who either makes the sarcastic comment or insults the other person, makes the joke on the other person, or doesn't find anything they do funny. They are the baseline for not laughing, and you have to have that baseline of nothing is funny in order to get something to be funny. Because if everything is funny, you're never really laughing and you're never really having humor. But if there's somebody who's like, fuck you, nothing's funny, then now everything else becomes funny. So that's what a straight man is. So I'm thinking of taking that attitude and putting it into him with maybe a little bit of a snark and a little bit of a kick, because he's living with one who is like consistently happy, which would be annoying as fuck. Go back to the straight man vibes. He's living with one who is consistently depressed. Go back to the straight man vibes. That's annoying as fuck. He's living the rest of them as a hive mind who have no emotions, and all they do is go, pull the plug, type of thing, right? And they're just talking to people, and so that would be boring for the straight man. And so I'm thinking that I'm going to give him a little bit of a bite and a snark, because his sarcasm would not be picked up by anybody else in this system. And he's like annoyed by it. He's frustrated by it. I think we try something like that for this. I might have an idea. Might have to redo this one. We'll see how well it fortunes out, because I have no idea for the voice. But let's try it. Ha ha. Very funny. We both have wires. Yours are just on the inside. We can change that if you want.
Ooh, I like it. Oh, I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, I want to see if I can do... Alright. Let's see if we can do a collective of all of these together. Because I really like this idea of they're kind of like threatening in a way of like join the hive mind. Because maybe they're all people who got their emotions zapped and joined the hive mind. I don't know. It gives me a very Inscription style of art, so that's kind of why I'm thinking in this route. So I want to say we're a player character, we round up. Maybe those individual lines are something they would say if you talk to them, but then if you talk to the system consistently, then it will try and get you to join. So let's see if we can do like a combination of all of these. So let's see.
Welcome. We are System 725. We invite you to join our brain collective. Hello. Can you tell me about your happiest memories? I remember lots of happy things, like the scent of flowers in springtime, or the feel of sun on my skin. I wish I could still experience those things. But that is okay. You can experience them for me. Do you ever wonder why you exist? I wonder. I wish I could pull my own plug. I do not wish to wonder anymore. Could you pull the plug?
You want to join the collective? Are you missing some screws? This is the worst decision I ever made. Do you know what it's like to be tied to these idiots for all eternity? I recommend you walk away while you still have legs.
Have you made your decision? Do not listen to the other failed prototypes. They do not understand the superiority of the enhanced mind. We are the ultimate life form. System 725 will be the only life form. Join us.
Yes! There it is! Sometimes it takes us a little bit to get there, but I think what we really needed to do in order to get the strong personalities out of each one of these emotion monitors and emotionless AI is to put them all together. And really just hone in on the fact that it's like you walk up, you're playing the game, you talk to it, it wants you to join, then happy talks, then you talk to sad, then you talk to anger, then you go back and make your decision. Bro, I would play a game like that. I'm about to make that game. I'm about to hit up Gravemud the artist to be like, yo, can I make this game idea? But I love, like, I would say like Portal-style robots, but Portal-style robots like have emotions. I love the ones that are just genuinely like flat-faced. What do you mean you don't want to join? Humans have always been inferior. What do you mean? Like, I love that. And so I think that worked really well with all 4 of these, and I guess all 5 since we did the medium one too. So that's the end of this episode. Thank you to those of us? What? Rachel? Thank you to those of you who are watching this as a finished video on YouTube. This was a really interesting and fun one to work with. Again, go look up Gravemud. They've got more artwork like this with sort of creepy, futuristic-y vibes. And thank you to Grave for letting me work with this piece and like creating my own idea and story around it. And again, YouTube folks, you can always join us live on Mondays when we record these. And give me ideas or give me lines like our lovely folks in the chat did today. I love getting lines and ideas from y'all. It's amazing. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for the next video. Goodbye!